Assuming that most Fates viewers are primarily Conquest fans, you'll likely assume that the Invasion 2 in Birthright works in a very similar way to how it does in that route, having a large group of enemies spawning at the sides of the castle, much like Invasion 1, but then towards the bottom of the castle, most of the enemies consist of weak cannon fodder units with really low stats that you can milk the experience for to your heart's content. That's not exactly how it works out in this route. At the bottom, instead of a bunch of weak fodder units, the bottom side consists of entirely promoted enemies, most of which are mounted and can fly. These enemies are genuine threats to our army, especially when you take into consideration that a lot of the enemy flyer movement in Fates is non-deterministic. A lot of the enemies in this map will mostly be taken care of in just 1 or 2 combats, so this is effectively a support grinding map. As such, I've brought a lot of pairs that still have supports that they can work on. Korin and Mitama, Kaze and Silas, Silas and Ryoma, Ryoma and Felicia, Kaden and Orochi, and I'm also bringing Hinoka and Takumi so they can gain some more experience, particularly Hinoka, who is still working on getting quick draw. Similar to Invasion 1, I'm using the Nestrian style for this. In my opinion, it's one of the easiest castle styles to manipulate enemies into moving the way I want them to. In particular, this helps with the enemies towards the bottom. At the start, I want to have all the flyer enemies run north, towards Silas and Kaze. What I don't want is for the grounded units to also head towards these 2 units, as that would cause a really awkward enemy formation that I'd rather not have to deal with. My fix for that is to put the Hoshidan Glade in between 2 unbreakable buildings. This encourages the enemies to start heading towards the Einherjar shop instead, as that's the closest breakable building to them that gives my units a stat boost. The second closest being the mess hall, which is where Kaze and Silas' starting position is. Before starting, I'm going to be reclassing Takumi into a mechanist. He's already obtained certain blow from sniper, so there's no longer anything to gain by staying in this class until he reaches level 15 for bowfare. Instead of that, I'm going to go ahead and put him in mechanist right now to start working on his shuriken rank, and get the skills from the ninja tree almost immediately. Lock touch will be important in chapter 20. The extra point of movement is also always appreciated. Eventually, Takumi will be able to learn Replicate, which will allow him to activate his own personal skill in attack stance. How cool is that? Mitama drops Korin in the 1 tile wide choke point directly above the prison. This guarantees that the prison will be the first thing that the enemies need to break down, otherwise they'll be forced to either attack into Korin or head south. Felicia and Ryoma take care of the 2 most southern enemies in this group. I want them to unlock their S support by the next map, as that will be the last mission where Felicia would be a required member of the active roster. Of course, in order to enable that, I have to get a few support points here, since it takes at minimum 2 maps to go from A to S support.
That was close.
Hinoka takes down one of the Malignites on the other side. She won't be getting quick draw or air superiority on this map, but I will level her up once to get skill +2, and more importantly make it so that she won't need as many kills in chapter 19. Kaden kills the adventurer. He's working towards getting his S support with Orochi, as I figured that since this is a map dedicated to grinding support and experience points, they were the best picks of the supports I had left to work on. Mainly because Jacob and Azura are not strong enough to handle the enemies here, but these 2 are. Something I find amusing is that without rallies, or a pair up, or even a tonic, Orochi's still able to double the Dark Knights on this map if she uses the Horse Spirit. An Orochi that doubles things with basically no outside help is uncommon. Takumi will kill the Malignite, but not with a Yumi from 2 range. Instead, he's going to kill it with his Brass Shuriken at 1 range, which will block the adventurer's way and force it to go for the accessory shop and not the private quarters. I don't want to lose my damage output. and in just one round of combat, Takumi already gets his first skill in Mechanist. Arguably, it will also be the most important one. Now onto the real stars of this map, Kaze and Silas. I want them to destroy every single one of the 6 flyer enemies across a couple of enemy phases. Unfortunately, I can't get it all in one go because of Silas being a flyer himself, and I can't put him in range of the Kenshi Knights. As mentioned before, all of the grounded units will be tricked into aiming for the Unharrier shop, as the Hoshidan Glade makes it so that's their closest target. This makes it so I won't have to worry about them until a bit later in the map when I'm more prepared for them. On this first turn, Kaze and Silas will fight the 2 enemies in the center and right rows of the flyers. This is performed by putting Kaze on the fort, which is placed barely inside all of their ranges. Since Kaze has the Vantage skill, even if he does get hit, he has a very low chance of actually dying. I've shown it off in moderation before, but this is the first time in the playthrough where I'm able to perform a true Vantage sweep.
Please, accept my help. Ah! To the rescue!
The goal here is to feed all of these skills to Kaze, primarily so Kaze can fix his strength stat and actually give some good stat inheritance to Midori. Some other characters will also make a brief return for similar reasons, though none will be as close to as cool as what Kaze gets to do.
Leave it to me. Please, accept my help. I'm here for you. Thank you. You're not alone. It's not over yet. I'm impressed. Leave it to me. We won't give up.
Silas and Kaze now take one step to the left and kill the Kenshi Knight. Here I'm taking a small risk by switching Silas to the Brass Yumi. Thanks to him getting air superiority, he still has 87 displayed hit, despite being affected by Bowbreaker. This is to account for if Pavise activated on all 3 attacks before Silas shoots his bow, as even if that happens, this would still result in a kill. On enemy phase, the Kenshi Knight would take 15 damage, then Kaze's attack would deal 6 damage on player phase, and Silas would still be able to kill with 1 attack to spare. This is also why I needed to keep the private quarter safe. Switching to the Brass Yumi also serves another purpose. On enemy phase, Kaze will be attacked by the 2 adventurers as well as one of the remaining Kenshi Knights. In order to kill the adventurers, Silas can't be holding the Beast Killer anymore, but he still needs to use effective damage against the Kenshi Knight, so Brass Yumi it is.
Yes!
Stay alert.
We've got this!
You fought bravely.
Korin goes above Ryoma to kill the Dark Knight. Eventually, I do want Korin to unlock the Swordmaster class so he can get Swordfare. Big damage stacks in the late game are going to be very much appreciated.
Sorry.
Conveniently, this Wyvern Lord moved to a spot where Mitama can kill it with Korin's dual strike in this position. This, impressively, isn't random.
Poetry in motion! Don't make me laugh.
You owe me.
Very kind of you. Well...
Kaden, Orochi, and Takumi will all stay here to await reinforcements. Hinoka will fly left towards Silas and Kaze, where she'll eventually take Silas's place to allow him to go work with Ryoma for a little bit.
Together we shall prevail. I'm here for you.
Thank you. Remain calm.
Everything will be fine. To the rescue!
You're quite skilled.
Together we shall prevail. It's not over yet.
Thank you.
Since the interior shop just got destroyed by the furthest bow knight, the remainder of the mounted units decided to turn around and go up towards the center towards the mess hall. Thanks to the Hoshidan Glade though, we still have a little bit longer before they're actually able to get anywhere. For the other bow knight, we're going to kill it on enemy phase with Mitama, by having her pair up with Korin to get dropped at the edge of its range. This bow knight chooses to keep going up the left side, not because it wants to attack the rod shop or the records hall like it may seem like, but it's actually going up the left side because it's the closest route to reaching the mess hall now. No matter what his goals are though, we'll put a stop to them immediately. For extra clarity, I'll be turning on enemy ranges of the cavalry.
Victories
I believe in
preordained.
Ryoma gives the Raijinto away to debuff his own strength stat. This turns his attack stat from amazing to just good. This will prevent any unwanted one-shots.
Okay, let's go. Please remain calm.
You look tough. Let's play.
Hinoka flies over and takes the Beast Killer from Silas, conveniently in a position that will allow her to dual strike with Kaze and kill the final Falcon Knight to reach level 20. This will be Kaze's last battle on this map with him as the lead unit, as he will no longer be able to gain experience.
I see the enemy. Here I go.
You're quite skilled.
You'll be all right. We're not done yet.
Your courage inspires me.
Orochi weakens the Falcon Knight reinforcement for Kaden to kill. She's using the Rat Spirit instead of the Calamity Gate as she doesn't want to risk any crits.
Need my help? Again?
Oh, what fun!
I'm handsome and strong.
Takumi intentionally leaves the Wyvern Lord alive by only weakening it with the Brass Shuriken. I want to save this kill for Kaden, as this extra kill will let him reach level 5 on this map. While not strictly necessary, this is also good for building Takumi's Shuriken rank.
We've got trouble.
I've got your back. Now face my wrath.
Thank you very much.
Now that Felicia doesn't need Ryoma's dual strike anymore, I need to have Ryoma move one tile down and attack the adventurer.
Steal your stuff.
This is so he can provide his dual strike to Silas against the Malignite. If Silas switches Ryoma to the Brass Katana, he's able to kill the Malignite without taking a counterattack. This will allow Silas to live on just 1 HP thanks to the damage reduction from the Records Hall.
We stand together. Let me help. I won't fail again.
Hinoka flies forwards to kill the Bow Knight. This will also put her in range of one of the Great Knights, but that's no problem at all for a beast killer.
Good.
For good measure, Kaze backs her up with the Armor Slayer. Korin and Mitama head towards the center to meet with Kaze and Hinoka.
Stay alert.
Remain calm.
As it should be. No need to worry.
The next wave of reinforcements have arrived, and we still have one last Great Knight left over from the original Southern group. To take it out, I'll have Korin go at the edge of its range after he's been given the Kodachi, just so I can trick it into moving away from the mess hall without actually killing it.
Here I am.
Can you do this one?
Silas and Kaden will take care of their respective reinforcements, but everyone else will just wait.
Come on. That was too close. Yes. Steel yourself.
I'll help you. This should be interesting.
This is gonna hurt.
We've got this.
Come on.
Victory's preordained. Bit slow, yes?
This time, Takumi is allowed to kill the Wyvern Lord. Orochi and Kaden repeat what they did before.
Interesting.
We can do this, right?
Wow.
Hinoka finishes off the Great Knight that Korin fought, allowing Korin and Mitama to go in range of another enemy to do the exact same thing with a new group.
Victory is mine.
3 of the cavalry are pretty far away, but the Bow Knight on the left is able to easily get picked off on enemy phase. Might as well do it.
Ready for this?
On Ryoma's side, the adventurer can actually die this time, since he can now use Silas's dual strike.
We have no choice. Don't take all the glory. Thank you.
Silas kills the Malignite from the north, to provide his dual strike to Felicia, who needs to kill the Wyvern Lord. If Silas didn't dodge the adventurer earlier, the Wyvern Lord would see lethal damage on Silas and kill him on enemy phase.
Allow me. I won't forget this.
Shall we?
Together we shall prevail. This one's for you.
Whoa.
Show me what you've got.
I'm with you. Let me try.
I'll write an epic about this.
These last 3 enemies are no sweat at all. Corrin moves forwards and kills the Bow Knight furthest away.
Here to help. It's over.
Then Mitama can go next to Corrin and kill the first of the Dark Knights to level up and obtain renewal.
Ready for this? I can help you.
The journey home begins. I have written a poem.
For the final Dark Knight, the only choice that really makes sense here is to allow Hinoka to kill it. So that's exactly what happens.
Let's have at it.
You'll be all right.
That was way easier than I expected. See you next time for Chapter 19, maybe the most unique chapter in the game. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'll leave that up to you.